Hello, lovely people. It is a beautiful day, and I am so happy to be here with you. God and Goddess, thank you so much for this lovely weather and for all the beautiful nature that is surrounding us. Thank you so much for safe travels and safety. Thanks for providing for our needs and showing us the way to live with love and kindness and compassion. Please help us to plant seeds and uplift ourselves and others, enlightening ourselves and others, and help us to be the light in this world. In the name of Elohim, I pray. Amen. Today is a family day on the Nasarean calendar, and the prayer is, Our God and Goddess, immanent and transcendent, ascend to all your angel of peace. To my family and friends, send your angel of love. In the Nasarean book, this Sadhana book, I'm just going to read the little part here that talks about family before we get into the peace yoga, essentially. The little list in here, again, this is the Sadhana book. It has Essene spiritual practices. It's by Dave Greenleaf and available at essene.org. He goes through all of the morning communions, the night communions, and the noontime peace contemplations. There's a bunch of mantras and even like the solar veneration meditation, I guess is what it is called, and different practices that they would do. As far as peace with family, it says, Nasarean Essenes practice peace with the family via such things as conscious emotional equanimity through the art of watching, understanding, and wisely channeling our emotions. Positive and wise interaction with all family members and anyone else in our immediate environment. Radical forgiveness, unconditional love, etc. So he has some suggestions on how we can actually apply these peace contemplations on a daily basis. So that kind of leads into, rush this up, sorry about that. That leads us into what I wanted to read from today, which is just a little clip from chapter 61 of the Holy God Spell. Yeshua is talking about the Essene yoga. And at the beginning of this, it actually says that the Essene tree of life, or Essene yoga, is based on the Essene tree of life. Let me put this up here so that you can see. And this tree of life is in here on page 985 as well, if you have this book. The fact that Essene yoga is based on the tree of life is revealed in the full name of this yoga system. That name is Yehud Etz Chaim, which means union with the tree of life. Essene yoga is based on the Essene tree of life, which has 7 branches and 7 roots. Each branch and root has a primary yoga associated with it. Essene yoga consists of 7 primary branch yogas and 7 primary root yogas, and all of the sub-yogas of those primary 14. Today, I just wanted to read about peace yoga because that is technically part of these noontime peace contemplations that we are doing. I need more hands. So in the same chapter 61, it says a primary, verse 497, a primary practice of peace yoga is the Nazarean lifestyle of peace that is called the sevenfold peace. That practice involves doing what is necessary in order to experience progressively greater peace in 7 areas of life. The 7 parts of the sevenfold peace are peace with the body, peace with the mind, peace with the family, peace with humanity, peace with heritage, peace with Mother Nature, and peace with God and Goddess, immanent and transcendent, the first Yahweh. Another practice of peace yoga that is related to the sevenfold peace is called the midday peace contemplation. At midday of each day, a Nasarean yogi of the Essene way is asked to perform the midday peace contemplation. Each of the 7 days of the week features a peace contemplation related to one aspect of the sevenfold peace. The first of the 7 parts of the sevenfold peace, peace with the body, is contemplated on the first day of the week. The second of the second parts of the sevenfold peace, peace with the mind, is contemplated on the second day of the week. The third part on the third day, and so on. The 7th part, peace with Yahweh, being contemplated on the 7th day, which is the Sabbath. When I was reading that, something that just popped into my mind was that there is the Essene Gospels of Peace, and there are online, especially with the Nasareanway.com and some other maybe like Essene websites, you're going to find the list of communions and that same tree of life, but their communions are on different days. For instance, the father, I believe, is on Friday night and the mother is on Saturday morning, whereas in our communions, they're on the same day, which makes more sense. So if you have already been exposed to the Essene Gospels, you might know of these communions and stuff already, but they're different than these ones. In Matana, the section devoted to the 7th candle of illumination of the Bahir Shabbathayim, the sevenfold illumination, the words that are to be either spoken aloud or recited inwardly at the time of the midday peace contemplation are provided. There's also some shorter contemplations that Christ is giving as well, which I'm going to skip because I think that personally, I think that they're short enough already. But I guess you can just say peace with the family, peace with humanity, and just kind of keep it short and think about those. The other part that I wanted to read, the Nasarean Hebrew word shalom, peace, means more than the simple absence of war between nations. It implies a deep sense of harmony. If you work for peace between nations, but have not harmony in your own life, first seek peace within yourself. When you are harmonious and peaceful within, you radiate peace wherever you walk, even in a group conscious hell realm, such as a battlefield. Rapha and Judah knew this, and they were great peacemakers. Because Rapha ascended to become the chief messenger, angel of peace, it is she that you call upon when you perform peace yoga by reciting the communion with the branch of peace. So we say, your angel of peace. If you haven't read the Nazarean book of Genesis, in chapter 18, you'll find the story of Rapha when she hears the holy call from the sound of the drums, and she is going towards the mountain of peace. She wants to go up it, and the false Yahweh's soldiers are at the bottom, and they're like, nope. They try to convince her to go the other way, and when she's like, no, I'm sorry, I'm going where my soul is telling me to go, and that's up this mountain, they basically attack her. They're getting ready to even rape her, and Judah comes along, and he is just in the moment ready to fight, and he saves her using Zayin. He's the first Zayin master on this world during this time. So really cool story there. But Rapha is eventually healed by Isha and asks to become a healer as well. And she not only heals with herbs and the other Essene practices, but it's told in that story that peace is actually the most healing thing, that we as healers need to be bringing peace everywhere we go as the first part of healing, right? Because if we're not at peace, none of these other things realistically are going to fix the problem. An example of how mantra yoga is a sub-yoga of peace yoga is the use of the word shalom as a mantra as follows. Inhale a deep breath, then exhale slowly, pronouncing sha for about half the exhale, then lom for the last half. That is one of my favorite mantras. In another portion of the Megillah, we also read about mantras and how the Essenes would practice. For instance, with this shalom, the first note would be like shalom, and then the second note, when you do that, you actually go up, so you're kind of raising the energy, the vibration. You're lifting up the mantra in an upward manner. It's really cool. So you could also practice that along with this. Before Rapha ascended to become the chief messenger angel of peace, she was a great healer, serving as the Zakina, the chief eldress of the Nasarean tribe of healers, the Raphaim. It was Rapha that, in the section of the Megillah called Matriarchs and Patriarchs, spoke the 7 precepts of illumination for the way of Shevet Raphaim. Within those precepts, she lists various healing therapies that together constitute the golden path of healing. That path or way is the discipline of restoring harmony to parts of the body that are experiencing disharmony, thus inducing wellness. That practice, the golden path of healing, can thus be considered a sub-yoga of peace yoga. In the light of the above, you can understand why Raphael is often called the chief angel of peace and healing. Healing is related to harmony, and harmony is related to peace. So the Essenes, obviously, Christ and Miriam are kind of going around and teaching people, and they give bits and pieces at a time. They're not just like, all right, everybody sit down and we're going to just teach you for 12 hours straight. We're just going to give you all the information that you can possibly handle. Realistically, they would give people, the bits that they needed, and they would work on practicing and implementing these different insights or communions or practices. And so it was to build on and then go deeper in these teachings eventually. So we didn't touch all of the different Essene yogas, but the peace yoga is, the most consistent thing that I have been doing as far as the practices. I'm vegetarian, vegan too, but the peace contemplations is one of the most prevalent things for me. I've been trying to do it like every day with you guys, and it's really been helping me to remember that and to bring my focus back to it and to actually do the contemplation. So hopefully it's helping you. It's definitely helping me, and helping, I can see the changes in my own life. So I know for a fact that once we actually start doing these practices and diving into the scriptures, that our lives can be really changed for the better. And then our light just gets brighter, and then the world around us, well, unfortunately, sometimes they don't really like the light, but we get to actually plant the seeds and show them a better way to live, whether or not they like it or not. David D says, God and Goddess, please help us to focus on what needs to get done. Amen to that. It's definitely hard to focus all the time, especially with so many distractions. Yesterday, we read in the story of Noah about how the great sacrifice is coming into this world because of the density of the atmosphere. We literally don't remember who we are and why we came. And the temptations and all of the distractions in this world are very great. And, the enemy knows what ways to attack us personally the most. So it's very intelligent energy entities that we are fighting against. But thankfully, for me at least, leaning into that connection with God and Goddess, and especially reading in the Megillah these different stories, I'm still thinking about the story of Noah because he suffered so many losses, and he's literally getting ready to jump off a cliff. Like, he just gets trashed and then he falls down, and he's just like, what is my purpose? Like, please, if you can use me, as pathetic as I have become and as sad and, as how many mistakes I've made, please do something with me, because I want my life to be meaning of something. I need meaning in this life. And that's when he was given the dream and then visited by the dove. It's really cool. So anyways, hello artist, how's it going? Hopefully that story has been a little bit encouraging for you as well. Those have really been inspiring and helpful to remind myself of, like, how these people have suffered, how they've been attacked and persecuted, and all these different adversities that they have faced for doing the exact same thing that I'm doing. So it's very relevant, and I can find peace and comfort in their stories and camaraderie, almost like the Christ family, knowing how much suffering that we've all been through, and that we're not alone in it. Artist says, great vegan recipes you shared on Facebook. Oh, cool. I'm glad that you liked them. There's, for those that don't know, I recently shared a little picture of Snow White that's like when you can bake everything that doesn't hurt animals or something like that. And it has a bunch of holiday recipes that we used at our Shasta Vegan community Thanksgiving last year. So if you're looking for some substitutes for this week, it's what, Tuesday? It's Monday now, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is Thanksgiving. So yeah, for those of you that celebrate, if you're interested, literally Google vegan blah 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 recipe, whatever recipe you want, and they'll have it. So it's really awesome. David E says, our souls have taken a great risk coming here. Easy to get distracted, corrupted, and dragged down into hell. Exactly. I really love how the story, we didn't read it yesterday because it happened in the book of Genesis, but Abraham and Sarah and Isaac as a little baby, they actually come before Abdiel and Esau are slain. They came to Earth to visit, to see what was going on. They walked around as poor people just to see what the situation was. Are people friendly? Are they going to help us? Are we going to be rejected? And the false Yahweh actually comes up to Abraham and Sarah. If you know who they are, they're literally the priests and the high priests and priestesses of the temple of our sun. So they're extremely highly, they're high vibe entities that know what's going on. And so when the false Yahweh came up and was like, hey, you need to sacrifice your child, Abraham was just like, no real God would ever ask for a blood sacrifice. Like, that's only a demon that wants that. And so it's a completely different story than the one that we're told in the mainstream Bible, where it's like Abraham was like, all right, Isaac, hop up on the table, I'm gonna sharpen my knife and I'm gonna kill you, right? And that story was always problematic to me, because I'm like, I want a child really badly, and if God asked me to literally murder my child, like, man, that's gonna be a real test of your faith. And obviously in the context of the Bible, that's how it's presented, right? And for a while, like, especially as a Torah follower, I was trying to convince myself that I would be okay with that and that I would do it, because I want to be the spiritual person that I aspire to be, and want to resist temptation and be able to sacrifice whatever for the cause, right? So yeah, it's really interesting to see this other story that makes way more sense, especially as coming from a parental standpoint of like, I'm not going to sacrifice my child. But then you think of how many he actually did get to. They were literally performing cannibalism, human sacrifice, eating their victims. Like, this was a very prevalent practice in these scriptures. And we've talked about how that's kind of happening already today as well, where they're slipping bits and pieces of human into a different thing so that they can ultimately control us. That's what it was said in the scriptures, is that eating meat, and especially eating human meat, just tightens that grip that the dark ones have on a soul. It can lead them into darkness. I mean, if you're eating humans, then you've let the darkness take over pretty far. Like, it's bad enough to be eating animals. Like, you really don't understand how dark and evil it is when you're still programmed, when you're not of the fleshless diet yet. You're just like, oh, it's just normal, everyone does it. But once you actually get out of that lifestyle and you see what's going on, it's like, this is so evil. And humanity even doing that is a very big fall from where we should be, as far as loving and compassionate and God and goddess, the children of God and goddess, right? So yeah, it's crazy to see that people have actually been corrupted that much. But especially when you look at the modern human today, who is raised in a atheistic, Big Bang, evolution, all of these godless systems. And so they believe that. And I mean, why not? Like, there's just a lot of different evils that helps you, that path goes down. If you don't believe in God and you think that this is the end, if you think that some people, go to the extreme with the atheist religion, and they think that they need to like dominate and do whatever they can to, leave their mark on this world, because that's all that's going to be left after they die. And it can get pretty dark. So David E says, look at how many mothers sacrifice their unborn children. Absolutely. And that's part of that is them being desensitized and saying, oh, that's not even a baby, that's a clump of cells, that's a parasite, that's something negative. So they've divorced women from motherhood and sex from parenthood and love and family and all of these things, really. Artist says, I always didn't like that story of Abraham in the Bible. Glad there is another better story. Yeah, I'm going to put out some little reels that have little clips of different stories so that we can start spreading this stuff out. But I would like to start reading more that are just, yeah, the regular stories so that you guys can hear them. David D says, the longer you are vegan, the more evil you realize it all is, not just the flesh eating, but all the corruption that surrounds us. Definitely. All right, I'm going to jump off of here. Today is family day, so I'm going to send some messages to my family. Family day is not just about your family, it's about your friends and the people that you might live with, that you work with, that you're in communion with. Finding different ways that we can be more peaceful in these situations and compassionate and loving and kind so that we can all plant seeds and really make this world shine. Close rhyme. All right, I will see you tomorrow for the noontime peace contemplation. I hope that you have a wonderful day. May God and may God bless you.